Hello, I'm Michelle Swan Young, and I am a wellness educator. And I wanted to share this video with you to be able to provide a guide to supporting teens, yours or ones you know, who might feel nervous about the upcoming vaccinations, especially for them getting vaccinated. So just recently, the COVID vaccine was approved for 12-year-olds and up, and as we've seen in Seattle, the schools are beginning to have clinics starting next week, and our kids might have a lot of feelings about this right now. It's a season of change. It's a really hopeful change, and yet it can have even kids who are not usually nervous about getting a vaccine or a shot of some sort, or needles or anything like that, which is a totally normal thing to have anyway. But even kids who might not usually feel nervous about that, might be feeling a little nervous about this one. So I wanted to just give you a guide of one way that you can have a conversation with your kids to help support them, to help connect with them, and to help them to feel like you are alongside them in this journey. So there are 3 things in this guide that I want to share. The first one is going to be to bring your curiosity and to start with a question. You're going to definitely, even though you might have an idea of how your kids might be feeling, you're going to want to bring your curiosity and really listen. The second one is going to be to create a point of connection, somehow that you can show that you understand what's going on for your kid. You're going to practice empathy in that. And then the third one is that you're going to offer support. So the first is curiosity. When you can pick a time that you want to have a short conversation with your kid about this, and it's often really helpful if maybe there's not other siblings around, or just if you're going to ask them about their feelings. Sometimes just knowing that you can have their focus is a really good thing. And you can also have this conversation over many chunks, check in at several different times instead of just all at once. But first you want to ask them, how are they feeling about it? How are they feeling about the way that things are going in general, but also how are they feeling specifically about getting vaccinated themselves? If you have a date and time for a appointment for them, or if you're just kind of considering, bring that into there, and just ask. Sometimes, especially teens, will just shrug. That's actually totally fine. You can also ask them for their permission to guess what they might be feeling and offer some suggestions. So it's important to note that we all have multiple feelings about things, so likely they're feeling many emotions. So you want to include some ones that might feel positive and some ones that might feel negative when you're asking. So you might ask them if they're excited, or if maybe they're nervous, maybe they're dreading the actual vaccine itself, maybe they're feeling hopeful, maybe it's no big deal, they don't really care. It's unlikely that's really true going on deep inside of them, but that might be how they're able to express themselves in the moment. If they do say that they're nervous or they're feeling a sense of dread, you might ask them, what concerns do you have about it? And find out what it is that's bugging them. Maybe there are some social concerns. Maybe they're concerned about side effects. Maybe they just don't really know what to expect. So all of those things are things that you can listen to when you get curious. All right, the second thing is to create a point of connection with them. So think back on your own life and to find a time when you also felt similar. And you can also think about how you dealt with that feeling. You don't have to share a time when you felt like you dealt with it well, even. Sometimes sharing that you felt like what you didn't work very well, sometimes that can be just as powerful. But try to see maybe if you can fit 4 sentences, something pretty concise, not a 30-minute thing they're going to feel like is a lecture. And just connect with them. Say, yeah, you know what, this thing happened to me, or happened in my life, and I felt similar in this way too. And if you want to share how you dealt with it and whether or not that worked for you, that's great. All right. And the third is to offer support. So the same way as we started out by asking questions and getting curious, we're going to be curious about support too, and ask them, how would you feel best supported? Sometimes they totally know. Sometimes they can tell you exactly what it is that they want and need, and that's fantastic if that's the case. It's also completely fine if they say, I'm great. Yeah, I feel nervous, but I don't actually need to change anything. One of the ways of dealing with feeling nervous is just to accept it, and that's totally fine. We all have to deal with levels of feelings in our lives and just sort of go on, and it's not, sometimes those feelings are at a manageable level. It's when they become unmanageable that we need to actually bring in some specific supports. So first of all, maybe they say nothing. I'm actually great. If that's the case, then you might just want to let them know that if they change their mind about it, that you're there and you are happy to help them brainstorm or come up with other things. You also might check in with them the day of a vaccination, because sometimes the feelings can change when the thing is really imminent versus when it's just this idea beforehand. Secondly, for support, if they say, yes, there is something that they would like to do to change how they feel, or to that they do want some active support, then, like I said, ask what might be helpful. And if they don't know, which often will happen, then you might offer some suggestions, if, again, with their permission. 3 suggestions that I would have would be using some deep breathing techniques. And this is great for, like, if they talk through it beforehand about when you actually go to get the shot, then here's what you're going to do. That deep belly breathing where you slow your breath down, and then just some simple affirmative self-talk, like, I am doing my part to help my community, or this is really going to change my summer, like it's going to mean that I can hang out with my friends, or whatever positive aspects are really powerful to your teen about what they're doing. The second support that I would suggest would be, if they're having a lot of anxiety beforehand, maybe get some good cardio aerobic exercise that can help to burn through some of the adrenaline, and it also can give them those endorphins, and that's something they can do. It could be short, long, whatever is best, whatever they enjoy doing is great. And then thirdly, and the exercise, obviously you can't do that when you're actually getting the shot, so that's sort of a beforehand, sort of a anticipatory anxiety management technique. And then thirdly, there's some energy techniques you can use where it's just like a body-centered way of helping to calm your body down. And one of those is called the head hug. And I showed that in a different video, but I'll show it here too. You just take both of your palms and put just a little bit of light pressure on your forehead right here, and a little bit on the upper nape of your neck. And just take some nice deep breaths while doing that. So you can teach this to them as well. Just maybe 30 seconds, even a minute. You don't have to do it for very long. That can help bring those nerves down a little bit too. And then finally, for support, you might want to talk about making a plan. Whatever concerns that they have expressed to you, maybe you can find ways with them to address those. So if they're really not sure about it's unknown to them, they don't know what's going to be happening, maybe you can walk them through as much as you know, or maybe you can research a little bit more about it together. Maybe you can make a plan for like what time you'll leave or whatever. The second thing for making a plan is if they're concerned about like side effects, maybe you can talk through those, or even come up with a way to minimize the side effects, maybe specifically like with hydration. So the 3 things: First, come to a conversation with your kid with curiosity and ask questions. How are they feeling? Really listen to them. Second, create a point of connection and be able to empathize and let them know and feel that you're really there to support them. And 3, ask them what things they might want for support, and you can give them some suggestions if necessary. I hope that this is really helpful for you as you go through this. You can obviously use this sort of 3-step guide in many different situations, but this one is about vaccination in particular. You can find me on the web at michelleswanyoung.com, and Swan has 2 N's in it, and I'll link it in the comments for this video. And you can also find out more about the work I do on Patreon, patreon.com/michelleswanyoung. All right, thank you so much. I hope that this can support you well in this season. Take good care.